Hey guys, welcome to Wrench to Drive. This is a shakedown run of my Super Honcho project. This is a hybrid crawler. It's got Redcat Gen 8 portal axles and a Traxxas TRX-4 chassis with the Traxxas 2-speed transmission. It's running the Redcat shocks and the Traxxas drive shafts and suspension links. Overall, the installation of the axles was pretty simple, guys. There's a semi-build video that I'll show you at some point down the road here that'll have the details. There's surprisingly not that much, guys. It's a pretty painless install. So if you have parts kicking around, there is an awful lot you can do depending on what those parts are, guys. And the reason I did this project is because I found a bunch of very reasonably priced Traxxas TRX-4 parts on Jenny's RC on eBay. And you combine that with the cheap Ford Honcho body that I've been using endlessly, guys, and you can do a pretty capable truck for pretty cheap. And spoiler alert, I have done a bunch of running with this, and I got a bunch of videos in the pipeline. And it works pretty well, guys. I'm pretty happy. It's an awesome truck, guys, and the overall cost was relatively reasonable. So yeah, this is the prototype version. As you can see, the deck on the back of the box there is a little cheesy because it's the old version that I was running, and I had to lengthen the cage to fit this chassis. And the upside is that this longer version fits the TRX-4, the Redcat Gen 8, I would imagine pretty much any axial truck out there. So you got a lot of options now, and you can hop onto my Thingiverse and download these files and print out whatever back half you want for your Honcho style trucks, guys. I also did up a version of this that has different lengths of a bunch of the pieces, so you can actually sit the body farther back if you're so inclined. The one that I did up, the nice version that I did up, is basically the same as this, so I didn't really go down that road. I like the looks of this a lot, so I kind of stuck with this type of deal. And I went with the Super Honcho name because I couldn't really think anything better. And I don't know, I think it is pretty super. It's got portal axles, it's got a 2-speed transmission, it's got wicked ground clearance. The articulation is good, but I actually am a little bit disappointed in that. It could be a little better, guys, and I think that's down to the TRX-4 suspension geometry in the front, guys. I could be wrong, but yeah, something along those lines. Oh, that and the shocks, guys. The shock travel is a big deal, and I got to look around a little bit. That's the one thing that's hard to figure out is what is the actual travel of some of these shocks, because you can find some 110 millimeter, 120 millimeter shocks that don't actually have a longer shaft than like a 100 millimeter shock. So you know, if that's the case, you're not actually going to get any more travel out of it. So that's something you got to pay attention to if you're looking for shocks, guys. As it is, though, as you can see, this truck moves not bad, guys. It's pretty capable. It's got multiple speeds. As you can see there, that's top speed in second gear. Not super fast. This is geared one tooth above the stock Traxxas gearing, and it's running 2S, so definitely there's more speed if you want it, guys. And this is running the Redcat Gen 8 ESC, so nothing to get too excited about. It works fine though, guys. If you want more control in second gear, I would say something like the Hobbywing 1080 is going to be a little bit more effective. But with the 2-speed transmission, guys, you know, you pop it into low gear and you have tremendous low-speed crawling control, and then you pop it into higher gear and you've got a lot more speed. So the transmission definitely plays a big role in the performance of this rig. As you can see, it cruises around pretty good. The handling is not bad, guys. It seems much less likely to roll over than any of the other Honcho trucks that I've done. It's very stable, and that makes sense with the one upside to that Traxxas 2-speed transmission is you run the motor really low, and the downside to that is that it's not as realistic. So with that motor down low and then set closer to the center of the truck, you don't really get the option to put in the realistic looking engine cover and things of that nature. I guess you can, but it's not going to look super realistic, guys. So that's the only downside. If you're into the super scaler type thing, it's not quite as cool as some of the divorce transfer case trucks, even like the Redcat. Got a video coming out, might be out already, of a Jeep Wrangler with a roll cage and no top, and put a motor inside. I still gotta cut the hood off so I can actually open the hood and have a look at the motor underneath. But that turned out not bad. And as I add some more details, that can only look better. So depending on what you're after, guys, you definitely have to pick the right truck to start with. But in terms of performance, this TRX-4 chassis works really well, guys. As you can see here, the articulation's good. It crawls over these rocks like they're not even there, guys. That super ground clearance with the portal axles is really nice. You basically, you ignore the pumpkins. You don't have to worry about anything. With those Chinese metal axles with the great big huge pumpkins, you have to watch out for these rocks constantly, guys. This thing, here when it spins the tires a little bit, that's more a lack of grip than anything else. As you can see, it's making this look like it's a total joke, guys. I'm actually really tempted to put this 2-speed transmission into the Redcat chassis because that Redcat, the articulation is so smooth, guys. It is really, really impressive. And the front end in this is very slightly scabbed together, guys. It's not perfect, and I really wonder if I can get some better articulation out of it with a little more attention to detail. But it's by no means bad, guys, but I don't know, I think there's a little bit of room for improvement there. Look how easy it makes this look, guys. Crawling across the top of this little run of rocks is not easy, and it just ate that for breakfast. Massive ground clearance. That's the strength of this truck, guys, that ground clearance and those portal axles. Oh my goodness, it's unreal. In this type of terrain, the areas that you've seen in all my videos, guys, pretty much all the trucks are capable of crawling over this stuff. It's just a question of how easy it is, and this thing makes it look absolutely like a walk in the park. Although here, surprisingly, it's struggling, guys. Now keep in mind that any other version, the SCX-10 or the Redcat Gen 8, they struggle on this too, so it's definitely not a case of this is worse. It's just still struggling. And these tires are really dirty, guys. They've got it's funny, when they're clean, they're really, really sticky, and then when you get a kind of a film of dust and grit on there, they lose their grippiness. They still work really well, but they're the cheap Endura Super Swampers, and they still work well, but they're definitely more slippery, as you can see. And that was obviously a pretty serious angle, because this truck definitely doesn't roll over easy. I'm trying to find a line here, but it's tough sledding, guys. If you've watched any of my other videos, guys, you know that, oops, there she goes. This pile of rocks is surprisingly difficult. I spend a lot of time farting around on this, and there's a lot of getting stuck. So this truck is in good company, guys. It's for what it's worth. This is another case too where driving one-handed with my big fat heavy throttle finger, it's definitely not as good as it is driving two-handed. This little section here that it's having trouble with, I made it over this with two-handed driving on the first try and made it look super easy. I thought for sure I was going to be able to do it no problem one-handed. And as you can see, not so much. It's pretty much not happening. I'm trying to find a better line here, but it's pretty much not having it, guys. So I gave up and took another crack at it from a different angle, guys. Going to try to go up the other side. And as you can see here, this is really not that scary, guys. But between you get a little bit high centered and the tires being a little less than super sticky on this. This is river rock, guys. It's really smooth. It's like that one rock right in front of the truck there is actually a little more rough surfaced, but most of these are really slippery, guys. They're if you run your hand over them, they're smooth, and the tires don't get much grip, so that's why it's having so much trouble, and you're seeing the tires spin so easily. And this is not looking promising at all. Probably not the best configuration of rocks here. It's kind of a super vertical section right in front of the truck, or I guess now right at the middle of it there. And I mean, it's really leaned over here as well. It's tilted up and tilted over, and I can't remember if it makes it or not. It kind of looks like it might, but I want to say it doesn't. Yeah, try and get a little wheel speed. That didn't help. Yeah, you can see it's trying to pick up those rocks. It's so... Oh, there it goes. Yeah, look at that. It did make it. Yeah, the other trucks, like the SCX-10 and the Redcat, no chance, guys. That face is super tough, guys. So the Super Honcho is living up to its name. And there, as you can see, the mundane stuff, it's just ridiculously easy. I'm trying to, yeah, I popped into the second gear here. Got a little speed out of it. Head over to a pile of dirt and do a little bit of crawling. The dreaded axle breaker, a pile of dirt that broke my cheap Chinese axles. Busted one of the front drive shafts on there. If you haven't seen that video, it's a video with the Redcat with the Gen 8 body, the Scout 2 body, running the shiny metal axles, and I broke one of the drive shafts. When you see if you watch that video, or I'll let you know where it happens in this video, you'll be surprised, guys. It's one of those deals you look at it and just think, seriously? That's pretty pathetic. It's one of those things, guys. It makes you appreciate that these crawlers are actually kind of hard on a few parts, and probably the biggest one is those front drive shafts, because they have to take all the load of that fully locked up axle when you're climbing, and maybe more importantly when you're steering. And so if you get those things wedged, those tires wedged, and you're giving it a lot of power, those axles are taking a lot of load, guys. Those drive shafts, the CV joints on the outside, and a lot of those Chinese ones, you read a lot of comments about them breaking quite easily, guys, and mine held up all right. I got several hours worth of running out of them, and I wasn't super nice to them. There's definitely quite a few spots where I was a little too frisky on the throttle and had things loaded up pretty good, so I'd say that's probably what did them in, not necessarily the actual spot where they broke. I would suspect if I had checked them carefully, there was probably some signs of twisting on the one that broke, and then it just finally gave it up that one day. So what can you do? Look how easy it makes it up this, eh? I mean, all the trucks get up that, but that just, no spin, no nothing. And this is still just as dry as it's been for any of my other videos. You know, if it had lost any grip at all, it would have started digging little holes up there, guys. This is the little hill where I broke the drive shaft, guys. The axle drive shaft. So, yeah, hard to believe. Spoiler, no breakage on this video, guys. It has no troubles at all. I can't remember why it was stuck there. I think, oh, it had a weed around the axle, guys. See that weed dragging? That had held it up. Makes it up easy, as you can see. Makes it look so easy, guys. Super Honcho. This thing is unreal, guys. Stay tuned for another video where I crawl on some concrete and put, you know, some other piles that you've seen other trucks drive on if you've watched my videos. And oh my God, this thing just eats that terrain for breakfast. It's really impressive, guys. It works so nicely. And as you can see, like on this hill is trickier than it looks, guys. It's really easy to get a little bit sideways and start to slide and whatnot, but this thing's having no trouble. You can actually roll a truck over, like roll it over sideways on this really easy if you get too frisky. But with the low center of gravity on this, it's no problem at all, guys. No problem at all. And then up there, trying to get around the corner is a little tricky, but obviously no problems. And that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. There's more videos of this truck coming. Wrench to drive, or drive to wrench.